Motherfucker, I hate this motherfucker.
No, Sam, that's not how we do it. Let me show you how we take care of the creature.
I hate him.
Let me show you how we take care of the creature.
Go, Rita! Yeah.
Good afternoon, good people. Welcome back to Troyism. Of course, I'm Troy, and this is episode 3. So first and foremost, as I always do, I want to thank you for coming back. Hopefully you brought someone. Hopefully you shared this with someone. We're gonna build this thing up. I don't mind building it over time. So hey, each one teach one, each one reach one. Uh, we have a lot of stories today. I'm really excited about all of the stories because they're kind of all over the place. I know we spent a lot of time talking about Iran and Israel, which we'll do a quick update of that, but we're really just going to get into the show and get into our stories. Also, for Talk Me Through It, I actually selected one today that's near and dear to me just because I can relate to it. But also, I know my peers, my friend group, we've all had these conversations officially and unofficially. So I'm glad that I get to kind of bring this here. I kind of feel like this topic kind of fell in my lap to share with you all, just because it has been the conversation that we've been having for some time here. So I'm looking forward to that. Before we also get into the show, I want to shout out my mom who watches the show. Hey, mama. She gave me some unsolicited feedback or notes like parents do. She said that she knows that I'm creative, so she doesn't want me to use coarse language as a crutch. Basically saying I dropped the F bomb a little too much. So I will work on that. I will be cognizant of that. But when the story calls for it, I will be dropping it. Not a lot of them though, Mama. And maybe I'll give you like a Carol Burnett or what was that, Bewitched? I'll give you something. We'll figure it out. I'll text you. Or I'll call you actually, and we'll figure out what your symbol is, so you can kind of do your earmuffs or whatever for when the story's a little intense. Or I can tell you just fast forward. This is gonna be a little brutal. She also told me, she also told me make sure that I lead with kindness when I talk about these stories, because there's other people on the end of these stories, which I intend to, but we'll see. I'll try. I'll work on the cursing, but the stories are the stories, mama. Also, what else? You know what? We're just gonna get into it. First, I'll give you the update for Iran and Israel. I don't know if you have been paying attention to the news or not, but apparently we have a ceasefire in place right now. Now, the celebrity apprentice will tell you that he orchestrated the ceasefire because he's trying to be a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, which is weird because you want a Nobel Peace Prize, you want to be considered for a Nobel Peace Prize. However, you are literally inciting violence among your own citizens within this country based on a party line, which is weird. You're starting essentially civil wars within this country. There's damn near a protest every weekend because of you, but you want a Nobel Peace Prize? But we all know why you want it. You want it because Obama has one. You're never gonna be Jello, Trump. You're never gonna be Jello. Sorry. You'll never be Obama. Ever. So all this one for one you're trying to do to undo his legacy or match his legacy, it's not gonna work. People will never mention you two in the same sentence unless they talk about how you tried to be him. So yeah. But anyway, back to the ceasefire. It's actually good. And if you remember from episode 1, I actually spoke to this, that he actually had the power to garner peace in the Middle East. However, he didn't do that. He sent an airstrike to Iran. It was actually the government of Qatar who actually encouraged a ceasefire. So thanks to the government and officials of Qatar, and thank you, Trump, for almost sending us into World War III. He's already branded it as the 12-day war because, that's what the Celebrity Apprentice does, marketing and branding. I'm sorry, I'm dehydrated. I hiked today. Shout out to Runyon Canyon. I hiked today, so my water output was a little bit greater. But anyway, once again, back to Iran and Israel. Hopefully this can last. Hopefully this is sustainable. I don't trust Bibi Netanyahu worth a damn. So I will keep my eyes peeled, and I'm asking you all to keep your eyes peeled for a false flag in order to send him or to give him a justifiable reason to enter into conflict with Iran again, because ultimately that's what he wants to do. He wants to pick fights around the Middle East and have America fight his battles. We've seen this time and time again. He's been had this same damn script for 30 years, as I stated last show. So hopefully this ceasefire will hold, and Iran and Israel can at least be cordial with one another in the region. However, Iran has already said that due to their intel spying on Israel, they found out that Israel was actually planning a false flag on U.S. soil and was going to blame it on Iran to the tune of blowing shit up. So we don't know how true that is yet. Although Iran, I mean, nobody's super great in this situation. Let's be honest. But I'll keep my eye peeled on that about the false flag and the incel attacks on U.S. soil, because that becomes really, really serious, really, really fast for national security. So I'll keep you updated on that. But that's it for Iran and Israel right now. I'll keep you updated as anything kind of escalates. Hopefully they won't. But let's get into some more stories, man, because we have a lot of them. So the lead in for this first story, I want to kind of go back into my childhood a little bit. Growing up, I've always been fascinated with two things when it came to film. I've always been fascinated with films that talked about vampires because I'm obsessed with vampires. Growing up, second grade, they asked everybody, "What do you want to be?" People were like, "President, a nurse, a doctor, a cop." Vampire. Just because I've always found that fascinating, which I later found out kind of threads through my life in more ways than one. We'll get into that. Stay tuned. And then the other one was anything predicated on the future. So I'm a big fan of course, the Terminator series. I'm a big fan of Demolition Man. I'm a big fan just those 90s, late 80s films that, and even into the 2000s, that focused on what the future would look like. I'm very those were a bit of my rabbit hole growing up. So this story actually frightens me, but also excites me just because this is already kind of like in my wheelhouse. So, a federal judge rules in AI company Anthropic's favor in landmark copyright infringement lawsuit brought on by the authors of books. The ruling opens potential pathways for AI companies to train large language models on copyrighted works without the author's consent, but only if the copies of works were obtained legally. So let's break that down. So basically, what's happening is AI companies are now able to feed AI any published work as long as they obtained it by legal means. So basically, if you downloaded a book, an audio book, if you went to the library, which people don't do anymore, unfortunately, hopefully you have a library card. Get a library card. Actually, I don't even have a damn library card. I'm gonna go get a library card and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna floss my library card in your face because we all should have library cards. Books are our friend, no matter how they try to ban them. Books are our friends. But anyway, back to the story. So basically, what's happened now is that they can feed the big AI monster all of these published works, all of these publications, and basically have them stored in the brain. This reminds me of Minority Report. I'm also going to be referencing a lot of these films that I've watched just simply because, again, this is my rabbit hole growing up. So it's kind of exciting, but it's also frightening as fuck. Sorry, mama. That was one. That was one. That was one. But anyway, so I'm split on this one because that was the expectation that AI would help us enhance education and learning. So that part I understand. However, when you think about how AI can be used to manipulate and recreate and rewrite history, I mean, I don't know if you all are on Twitter, but if you're paying attention on Twitter, there's become this growing thing where Grok, which is Elon Musk AI tool, is starting to break script, if you will, and it's starting to kind of think for itself to where Elon Musk and Grok have been kind of battling, or he's been battling with Grok, because it's not producing the information that maybe he would want, which leans to, is AI okay? Let's get into it. See, I told you this is my wheelhouse. That wasn't for you. My ear was just itching. But let's get into it now. So the thing about this and what this sparks is, are these AI tools actual artificial intelligence, or are they super quick propaganda machines posing as AI? And so when I say that, what I mean is this actual artificial intelligence, which will be a collection of all data from all spaces to give you a synopsis of or get you in the neighborhood of the answer you're looking for? Or is this a thing where really, really rich people want to create a global narrative? And so they pop it into the AI machine, and then we get these propaganda push narratives, and then we start to share those, and then we start to think like that. And I don't know, I'm going too deep. I'm taking you too fast, so let me back up just to this story, but pay attention. So with this, I don't know exactly what's gonna come with it, but I'll tell you this. Um, the authors are probably mad because they're not getting paid and they're not being consented before their works are being used. But ultimately, uh, intellectual property can kind of be tricky anyway. So I'm not surprised that a court sided in favor of AI in this situation, just simply because they're not stealing it. It's the equivalent of me grabbing a book and reading it in front of a class, or reading it in front of a book group at the library where we get our library cards. Um, I wouldn't have to ask the author to, like, I wouldn't have to, well, Harriet Beecher Stowe is dead, but I wouldn't have to contact the descendants or the estate of Harriet Beecher Stowe to ask if I could read Uncle Tom's Cabin. So I'm not surprised that this went in AI's favor. I want us to be very careful, and I want us to start watching AI a little bit more. One, to find out how we can use this as a tool to push us into the future and make us better as a civilization. Uh, but also, I want us to keep our eye on AI, because with any new technology, I mean, if you document it back when we went from, phones and letters in the mail, all of a sudden switching over to dial up and internet, scams went crazy. I remember episodes on primetime television where they were talking about the cyber chat rooms. I need to stop doing this so much. Cyber chat, and it don't really even be air quote worthy, but I just like, anyway, cyber chat rooms and things like that, where kids were getting like kidnapped and abducted, where they were talking to like adults and stuff like that. So with any technological advancement, we have to decipher how it can push us forward, because clearly the internet has pushed us forward. But we also have to be very aware of how, nefarious beings can get a hold of it, and they can use it to wreak a lot of havoc. I mean, my first concern, honestly, is for our most vulnerable when it comes to AI, and that's our older community, because now you can recreate AI facial structures. You can definitely recreate voice patterns. Like I said before, I don't know if I've said it on the show yet, but one of my favorite AI pastimes is listening to other artists sing other artists' songs using the capabilities of AI, especially the good ones. And AI is only getting smarter, and it's only getting better, and it's exponentially getting smarter. So we just have to keep an eye out for that, because, like I said, with our older generation, they're more exposed, because if I create an AI prompt to where I call your grandma and tell her you've been in an accident or you've been locked up in jail, and someone uses my voice or we use your voice and act like it's create a call from, I don't know, downtown LA County Jail or whatever, Los Angeles Superior Court, wherever, and tell your grandparents that you've been in jail or whatever, and now we need to come by and get some money to bail you out. Like, these things can really happen, and our older generation aren't as vulnerable, or they are more vulnerable to that just because they didn't grow up with it. Hell, I'm a millennial and I just know to look for it and keep up, but Gen Z and Gen A, they're going to be far more capable uh, of deciphering this stuff just because it's their time and they're growing up with this as a tool. We grew up with dial up, like I said, and we were introduced to email. So we're that generation who kind of transitioned from analog to digital. Well, we were aware of analog and then we were really born in digital. And then from digital to what comes after digital? Virtual. Yeah, then we went virtual. Then after virtual, now we're artificial intelligence. So keep in mind the idea of a computer is to be around you and then on you and then in you. So always keep that in mind. Remember, Troy told you this. The futuristic movie aficionado, the mode and the agenda of technology and computers is to be around you. That means your laptop in the room, on you, your Apple Watch, your smart glasses, your VR stuff, and then in you. Wink, wink, Neuralink. Wink, wink, Neuralink. So just be mindful. Don't say no one warned you. That's the modus operandi. Around you, on you, in you. So just keep that pill. But we'll keep an eye on the how AI is kicking our asses in court and taking over our lives. And you know what? But this AI thing, what if, because we've already seen the Tesla robots, what if they already have like soldiers and shit that are like robots? And maybe not even us. Maybe, I mean, I think it would be us because I think we're winning the AI game right now. But eventually, what if wars will be fought with robots? Like Terminator, War of the Machines. Again, check into these movies, man. They let us know this shit early. Now I'm going down my, tinfoil hat shit. So I'm gonna chill. But War of the Machines, Tesla bots, MIT with the robotic dogs. Like, just keep your eyes peeled. But we're gonna get into the next story because clearly I can talk about this one all day. All right. So before we get into this next story, I kind of want to preface it with something about the show. So I know that we live in the age of social media and we live in the age of the court of public opinion. We're not doing that here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to present the facts when it comes to high profile cases. And then we will talk about outcomes and impact. That's what we will do. I don't really want to get caught up in the gossip and the the rumors or the salaciousness surrounding trials and stories because I want us to always have a balance, a center between what's really happening and the way this could go and the implications. Now, in my off time, that's a rabbit hole I live in too. Now, I get, salacious. I know what the salacious shit is. I just don't want to do it here. Not to that degree, anyway. So this next story is about Sean Puffy Puff Daddy P Diddy Love Combs. You'd have to be living under a rock on Mars if you weren't aware of the Diddy trial and the racketeering case that or racketeering charges that he's facing. Well, the defense rests with no witnesses, and Diddy didn't take the stand, which is not a surprise because if you get a witness on the stand uh, for the defense and they have one shred of inconsistency, that kind of blows your whole damn case. Also, if you put him on the stand, the cross examination will be so brutal that will become the case. So this usually happens, and I'm getting this from Judge Mathis. So, and I trust Judge Mathis. Judge Mathis is one of my favorite judges. A good man, Savannah. A good man. But yeah, Judge Mathis, good man. But anyway, so with the Diddy trial, all we received the closing arguments, and you know what? They came out swinging on these closing arguments, man. So the defense, pardon me, the defense asked the jury to summon, I can quote this, summon the courage to acquit him because there has been a lackluster proof of any racketeering or any pretty much they're saying that the case has too many holes for you to convict him of these crimes. That's another reason why it's kind of important, I guess, that the defense didn't present any witnesses or have Diddy take the stand because the burden of proof is on the prosecutor. So if I just shut up and let you have a weak case, I can walk simply for not interfering with your weak case. So that's what the defense is alleging took place in this case. So they're asking the jury to summon the courage to acquit this man because while we've heard tons of salacious things, none of it has been proven in this court and in this trial. Because remember, we said that the baby oil this is why I don't want to entertain rumors. The baby oil had GHB in it and he was lubing up and numbing people with the baby oil. That didn't come out in this case. There were allegations of all type of stuff that just never really saw the light of day in this case. Now, that's not to say that these things weren't true. I'm just saying that those things have been brought into court and proven true would have definitely nailed down the racketeering charges that he's being accused of. On the other hand, the prosecution is saying, Prosecutor Comey is saying, he's gotten away with this for 20 years. We've proven to you that he's gotten away with this for 20 years. We've showed you a paper trail, which they did, of 20 years of Sean Diddy Combs' malevolence, and it is time for him to pay the piper. No pun intended to R. Kelly, but a damn good segue. So let's look at R. Kelly, because I think that's the most recent or relevant, at least in the black community or black culture. That's the most recent or relevant case like this. I'll say this. Based on the court cases, if R. Kelly went to jail for what he was convicted of, Diddy going down today, boy. If R. Kelly is in jail for the time he's serving for what he did, which I think is consecutive life sentences. I don't know, look it up. I know he ain't getting out anytime soon. He won't be home for the Olympics, which will also be in Los Angeles. But Diddy, if R. Kelly went down, Diddy is definitely, I don't see him walking. I don't see him walking at all. I see him going to jail and I see him serving time. That's just my opinion. But when it comes back to the prosecutors, they're basically saying, we've proven a RICO. We've proven that this very affluent musician and business mogul used his music career as well as his business acumen to create a sub-organization in which it facilitated his nefarious acts, including sexual violence, sex trafficking, amongst other acts of violence and threats against others. So they proved the Kid Cudi thing, boom. They proved, clearly we all saw the Cassie video. Cassie took the stand, their strongest witness by far. Without Cassie, there was no case. So Cassie, there wasn't a case, but Cassie made this case as strong as it was. Good, bad, and different about how you feel about Cassie. She made this case. They have Cassie's testimony, which they've all corroborated. They have Capricorn Clark also. His former assistant, Capricorn Clark, she also helped nail this down. I'll say they were a duo, Cassie being first chair, Capricorn being second chair. So we have all these accounts of the things that have happened that they have proven in court. So then you say, well, what makes it the RICO? What makes it racketeering? What makes it racketeering? And this, thank you to the mob and the mafia and the CIA, I guess that's how we got the whole RICO Act. But what makes it racketeering is you make money doing music, you make money doing Ciroc with Diageo, you make money, in real estate, you make money in all these places. And within that money that you make, you have set up an organization that practices, and I don't want to say criminal organization because I want to break it down. You have set up an organization within your business dealings to support breaking the law. You have money set aside from the money you make to break the law, and not just break the law, commit felonies. Hiring people to go across state lines to have sex, that is sex trafficking. The thing about the Cassie thing, everyone says, well, Cassie was with it. I'm sorry. This is nose hair. I figured that out. I need to trim my nose hair. I'm nose hair years old now, which is crazy. I noticed them like on top of my ears when I shave, like a little, hair here and there that kind of sticks out or whatever. But like the nose, like anyway. So that's when I'm messing with my nose, is between this mustache flipping up, a wild hair going up my nose, kissing a hair growing out of. I have said too much about my grooming and nose hair practices. Back to sex trafficking and racketeering. Okay, picture it. Bad Boy, 2015. So yeah, so what makes this racketeering and what makes this a RICO, and I really want to drive this home, is if you are using your funds that you make at work, at your damn job, and you come over here and build an entire organization or system in which you can break the law, that is a violation of the RICO Act. And so, just alone, I mean, I saw the Notorious movie. Just from how many times, especially with Capricorn Clark's testimony, we saw D-Rock referenced in this, that's your right hand man. If your right hand man is involved in your freak offs and coddling your women and helping Cassie recover and keeping an eye, if he's being paid and this is a part of his job description, that's a violation of the RICO Act. So I know a lot of people were looking for, and that's why on this show I don't want to get caught up in the salaciousness, because we need to be able to attach the proven acts with the violation of the law. That is what we have here. So I do not see him walking out on this one, just because this is pretty steep. But what I will add, and this is where my opinion comes in, what I would have honestly liked to see, which I know won't happen, because I don't think Diddy's an honorable man in any sense. Before this, had none of these allegations came out, I don't think he's an honorable man. And this comes from someone who essentially wanted to be him when I was in high school. I mean, Diddy, Russell Simmons, Jay-Z. I'm talking about back in when fashion was taking over hip hop with Sean John and Fat Form and Rockaware, and then we had Echo, and so. Oh yeah, back in the day, I wanted to be a fashion designer, well, not really urban. Well, I guess urban fashion designer. So that was one of my high school dreams. So I've been tracking these men for a very long time, and so he's not a very honorable guy. Quite dishonorable given the situation we're in. But I will say this: there is a route he could have taken to restore a little bit of his honor, because believe me when I say these types of acts, he's not the front man. He's not the big boss dog in charge. Maybe in the black community, maybe across black culture, maybe even across hip hop, but he's not the boss dog in these types of situations. He could have fallen on the sword and killed the entire beast and aired everything out. Yeah, he would have went down, but it looks like he's probably going to go down anyway. But he could have unplugged the machine, But he didn't do that because he's not an honorable man. It would take an honorable man, an upright man, to do that. So, yeah, I don't see him getting off from this. But, of course, I'll keep you posted, and we will see what will happen with Diddy. All right, and for our last story, it's Speaking, this whole show has kind of been threaded with film. I mean, I can probably think of I've been able to think of pretty much a movie for almost every story we had today. I didn't do one for the Diddy one, but you know, it was a little too serious to be playing with that. I don't want to play with that. Actually, this story is serious too, but you know, you got to get one of them in, right? So, there's a film starring Jesse Metcalf, and I believe Ashanti's in it, and some more people. But it's called John Tucker Must Die, and it's a film about high schoolers who are plotting to not kill but ruin the reputation of this guy who's a bit of a player or whatever. It's a rom-com. It's light. It's in that era of She's All That. Remember that the late 90s up until the Kiss Me Under the Milky Twilight. I love a old raspy voice white when them little raspy voice white girls be singing. That's my favorite like genre of white music is when they had a little raspy. Kiss me under the milky twilight. Well, that was my Macy Gray. Anyway, the story. Um, a group of fifth grade students were arrested over an alleged plot to murder a fellow student after being overheard discussing their plans, according to a newly released police report. Four students at the Legacy Traditional School in Surprise, Arizona. I bullshit you not. Surprise, Arizona, were accused of planning to fatally stab a fellow fifth grade student and forge a suicide note to make it appear self-inflicted, according to the police report. A parent alerted the school of the plot last October after their child overheard the group talking about it. What? Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. So basically, there were four girls, fifth grade. What's fifth grade? 10, 11. Hey, parents, if you are letting your kids sit in the room while you watch the Criminal Network or the ID channel or whatever you are watching, get them out of the room because this shit is crazy. Fifth graders, 10, 11 years old, came up with a murder plot to kill one of their classmates, a boy. They wanted to kill him because he broke up with one of the four girls, and they all came together and decided, let's end him. Not my words, their words. The four little girls. What the fuck are they watching? Good Will Hunting? End him? End him. That's what 11-year-old girls are talking about. So as the story said, or as I reported, they were gonna shank him in the stomach, Shawshank style. Like they were gonna shank him in the stomach and then write a suicide note because that's the era we live in. They watch the news because they clearly know what to do or how to get away with murder. Shout out to Viola Davis, really good show, amazing actress. But yeah, so luckily, thank God for nosy classmates. Hey, let's take a break and let's appreciate every teacher's pet in the world because you know that was a teacher's pet. Ear hustling in the bathroom. They probably used to crack jokes on her and she was like, aha, bitches, you're gonna try to kill him, I'm gonna foil your plot because teacher's pet. Shout out to teacher's pet. Now they probably were gonna beat you up at 3:30 at the bus, but you saved a man's life. You're a hero. So this teacher's pet went and told because they're planning to kill someone. They were gonna kill someone's child. So when they were apprehended, three of the little girls showed remorse and cried and showed empathy. One smiled and laughed. This was the one who orchestrated it, the broken-hearted girl. Shout out to I Am Sasha Fierce. Broken-hearted girl. The broken-hearted girl smirked, smiled, and laughed, and as if it weren't a big deal. That one, slap her little ass in therapy quickly. Like we can kind of skip some steps. That baby's gonna end up in prison. She's gonna end up in prison. You're 10 and you're showing no remorse for plotting to kill someone, write a suicide note, and end him? That's crazy. Okay. Parents, parents, parents. We gotta turn this thing back. We gotta bring it back. Your kids are plotting to kill people in the 5th grade. I still kind of can't even believe like this shit is real. But all in all, the plot was foiled. Thank God. Buddy didn't die in the 5th grade because he broke up with someone. Can you imagine being killed for breaking up with someone that you've never even kissed or slept with? Like, what? You breaking up with me because of whatever 5th graders do when they date? What, sit next to each other, write those little letters that you fold into the little origami box, and like, what are 5th graders doing to where you're that mad about being broken up with? Unless you know who he left you for and he kind of dogged you. But even that's not worth. My point is, there is nothing happening at 11 years old where you have to come together to plot to kill someone. That is crazy. That 4th one, the ringleader, she's not well and she needs help. Parents, let's bring it back. Parents, talk to your children. Like, have conversations with them. And clearly, as early as, if this was 5th grade, we need to be talking to like the 3rd graders, because who knows what they're planning on doing? Shit. I mean, they don't, I would think the 5th graders are a little more mature and a little more rational. So the 3rd graders could be planning to blow up the damn school. So parents, let's start talking to the children and figuring out, how they're doing in math, how was lunch? Did they plan to bound and gag the principal? Like, let's find out what the kids are doing in school. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't really have a lot more for this story. I just really wanted to share it with you because it blew my mind. Like, 5th graders plotting to kill someone to the point where they were going to write a suicide note. That shit is wild. Keep it locked. We are going to go to our Troy Talk Me Through It. And like I said, I really like this one, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys about this one today. So hang tight, and we will be right back with that. All right, we're back. So before we get into the Talk Me Through It, I want to ask you a question. Nose hair alert. If you could give yourself a letter grade, A, B, C, or D, and it was strictly based on how you've lived your life thus far and how hopeful you are for the future, what would that grade be? Just those two things. A cumulative grade based on the life you've lived and the life you're looking forward to living. Would you give yourself an A because you've exceptionally, pretty much for the most part, got everything right? You had a good foundation, you found your way, or if you didn't have a good foundation, you course corrected really quickly, you got yourself to this point, and you're excited about your future prospects. That would be an A. A B would more than likely be, you've done okay, you've gotten to this point, and it's clicked. And now that it's clicked, you're just as excited as that person holding that A for the future. Or would it be a C? You didn't really get it right. You didn't really figure things out. Here you are, looking forward to the future, and you see what all lies ahead and how much course correcting you'll have to do. And you're going to give it a try, but you're not really certain of how it's going to turn out. Or would you give yourself a D? You have blown the, let's say, first half of your life for whatever vice, partying, sex, drugs, or just not living up to your potential, not reaching for anything higher than the low-hanging fruit of your life. And you have been given an abrupt wake-up call that the attributes that you had in your favor, your youth, your viability are behind you. And now you're entering into this new chapter of life without skills, and you really don't know what the future holds for you. That would be a D. What grade would you give yourself? Well, our Talk Me Through It this week actually comes from a clip that's been going viral, or I don't know, made its way to my timeline. I don't even know if it's very viral, but it struck a chord with me because I'm at a point in my life where I can relate to this probably now more than ever. And my friend group can also relate to this now more than ever. And we've been having these conversations and we've been kind of watching it play out. So take a look at this clip and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
I'm turning 40 this year and everything is just hitting me right now. It's like not where I wanted to be. I haven't succeeded at anything. God, have I even tried? Like, I don't even know anymore. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to cope with anything. And I don't know how to, I did this whole growing thing wrong. Like I'm supposed to be an adult. I'm supposed to be able to handle these things, and I can't handle anything. And I literally am just realizing, like, it's been 40 years of this, and like, it's 40 years of just being confused and not knowing and like figuring things out slower and like not like I haven't built anything. I have nothing like to show for this time. I just don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm lost. I'm afraid, and I don't.
That what you just saw was unfortunately, based on what I just said on the other side before the clip, that's probably a D. If I'm being kind, maybe a C minus. But I think D is where that young lady landed. And the reason why this one, that video and that clip hit home with me is because I think we all hit that point in life. I think that we live our lives to a certain point, and that's the reason why I gave you multiple ages: 25, 35, 45, 55, whatever your age is when it hits you or click, in any age in between that. We all hit this point in life where we are forced to give ourselves a score, and we don't, and we may never even let that score pass our lips, and we may never even give it a scoring system, but we grade ourselves. And that could be in comparison to what your peers are doing. That could be in comparison to where you thought you'd be. That could be in comparison to what you just don't have. And we give ourselves these scores, and then we try to move forward with that score. Now, if you come up with an A, then you're ready to, that may be a 2-second thing. Hey, I've done good, I'm doing well, let's turn it up. Let's see what we can do in this second half. Or a B, which, if I'm being honest, for me, mine hit at about 35. When I turned 35, I took stock of my life. And I took stock of everything that I had done, in my formal education years, what I had achieved in college, what I had done thus far in my professional career, and then my prospects for the future. And for myself, which was harder for me, but others may have been okay with it, I gave myself a B. I won't say plus or minus or whatever, but I gave myself a B, in the sense that there was so much that I wanted to accomplish and much more that I wanted to do, and not necessarily in career. I know when we say that, we tend to talk about career, but I'm talking about the tangibles, the things that actually matter, because careers are, they come and go. You could be the best at your job and then the company folds and you still need a job. So when I'm talking about those tangibles, I'm talking about family, connection to family, friendships. How do you spend your spare time? What are your hobbies? How are you well-rounding your life out? And so I gave myself a B, in the sense that, and the reason why I gave myself a B was, looking at my life before 35, I wasn't upset. I had some regrets. We all have regrets. Side note, these people who say I don't have any regrets, I wish you would change that and say I've made peace with my regrets, because we all have them. Because if God gave us a magic marker and we could go back in our past and fix something, no one would hand God the marker back and say, you know what, I'm good. You'd be a fool, first of all. If God came down and gave you a magic marker and was like, hey, you can go at any point in your life and you can adjust it. I won't affect anything. You can just fix those little blemishes of your life. You'd be a fool not to. So let's chill out with the I have no regrets. Let's change that language to I've learned to make peace with my regrets. I think that's better, and I think it's grounded more in reality, and I think people will connect with that more. But anyway, so for me, I gave myself a B because while there are some things that I may have done differently, things I would have been a little more passionate about, things I would have been less passionate about, things I would have given more time to, things I would have not wasted my time on, we all have those things. But the reason why I gave myself a B was because I am aware of the things I want going forward. I didn't give myself an A because I gave myself a B because while I'm aware of what I want, I don't know how much I've worked towards those things that I actually want for my life. And so I gave myself a B in hopes that I am proud of how I've navigated my past, but I acknowledge the work and the pivots that I have to make in order to live the life that I envision for myself. So that's why I gave myself a B. But we all go through these points in life, and I know we kind of lazily coin it as midlife crisis or what have you, but it doesn't always have to be the middle of your life for you to get that Denny skillet on your head to say, hey, what are you doing? Where are you going? I remember Charlemagne said something. He said I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's very scary to wake up and be a black man 30 and broke or something like that. And so for him, his was 30. That number for him in his head was 30. But we all have that number, and we get to that point in life where we silently give ourselves a grade, and then what we do on the other side of that is not always course correct. Some people look at that grade and say, well, this is it. It's not going to get any better. Or people spiral and crash out behind that grade. And I'm just going to say this young lady is spiraling, clearly, because she wasn't pleased with the grade she gave herself. And that's what I spoke to on the last show about self-betrayal. It's connected to that in the sense of you gave yourself that grade, which means that you live with that grade. We get grades in school all the time. I'm not thinking about shit that's on my transcript from college or any other grade. I'm not even thinking about my last performance review at my job. Because those are tools to move you forward and make you better. But when you give yourself a grade and you don't give yourself a mark that you can sleep at night with, it keeps you up. And it doesn't just keep you up at night, it stays on your mind in every area of your life. And you feel like you've wasted your life. And then that becomes a slippery slope where you can slip into harsh habits. You can slip into some mental state. You can slip into overall depression and bitterness about life and the prospects moving forward. And so what I want to tell you, if you've given yourself that score and you're not pleased with it, you can course correct. You can course correct. Even if you just sit down, write down the things that you are not proud of, because accountability first. And then we can, because when you give yourself accountability, you take responsibility for your past. You take responsibility for the parts where you didn't dot the I's or cross the T's, or where you may have come up short or missed the mark or just wasn't overall paying attention, But when you take accountability for that, then you can chart the future for yourself. You can tell yourself, okay, I didn't get it right here, but this is what I want. I want a better relationship with my parents. I want to be more financially stable. I want to lean into my finances more, my credit score, and be more physically responsible. I want to cultivate friendships that feed me and nurture me, but that I can also pour into myself. See, those are things that have nothing to do necessarily with a job or a career path that automatically can make you not only a better person, but make you more proud of your journey. So whatever score you give yourself at whatever age, I did mine at 35. I'm 40 now, but I'll tell you, in that 5 years, I'll just lay down some of mine. One of mine was, I was kind of listing them out just now, but one of mine was to become more financially stable and more physically responsible. Not that I was doing a horrible job of it, but it definitely wasn't a focal point. It was kind of like an afterthought. I'm decent. I made pretty good grades in math. So math's not hard for me. However, I wanted to be proactive in it, and I wanted to chart out what I wanted for my life, and I wanted my finances and my physical responsibility to look like what I said I wanted in my life by the next milestones that I've set for myself in the future. So it's just as simple as one, as hard as it can be, and I'm telling you, it's MrBeatYourselfUp.com. Oh, that sounded kind of kinky. Anyway, as someone who's has a history of being very hard on himself, let yourself off the cross. Take accountability for what you've done, but also know that this isn't the end for you. You can chart a new path going forward. You can fix this. This is still your life. You are still in control. And what this means is that you understand that something's not right, and you also acknowledge that there's work to be done. I want you to take that, because I'm going to let you in on another one of my rabbit holes. Only 30% of people have an inner monologue, that little thought that tells you, hey, I shouldn't do that, or hey, this isn't. There are a lot, 70% of people out here are winging it, not paying attention, not being accountable, not scientifically. Only 30% of us go inside of our head, inside of our psyche, and say, you shouldn't have done that. You can do better, or good job, I'm proud of you. So, first of all, good job for having the wherewithal to pause and listen to that small voice inside of you that says something is not right. Something doesn't feel right. I feel out of place, because I'm going to tell you something. As the tarot card readers say, I have many rabbit holes. Don't judge me. But as the tarot card readers say, you're having what we would call, or what they would call, I'm not one, what they would call a tower moment. And a tower moment basically means that your life is just seemingly falling apart, but it's falling apart so it can fall in place. Any reader will tell you a tower moment is not a disaster. It's letting you know that you have built a monument on things that are no longer sustainable, and it is tumbling down in order for you to start over and build something that will last. So if you have hit 25, 35, 45, 55, and you're having a tower moment, I want you to know that it just means it's time for you to build a new thing, and that is okay. That is okay. Look at, I mean, there are people, I was finna use an example, but I don't really fool with him anymore. But there are people who start, look at me, use me. I'm starting this at 40. I'm 40 right now. As I said in the first show, I'm 40 to be exact. Actually, I'm 40. Oh, I'm 40 and a half, 40.5 right now. And look at me on the YouTube space doing a show, And so I just want anyone who comes to this point, or you're at this point, or this point is in your rear view, I just want you to know that don't give up on yourself. It's possible. You can do it. All you have to do is take accountability, and that just simply means acknowledge the things. I'm a writer, so I write. So write things down. Write it down. Even if you got to record it on your phone, like I'm doing this show. This is done on my phone. Record it and watch it back. It may be hard to watch, or stand in the mirror. I have this belief about the mirror. We stand in the mirror for two reasons: to see our reflection, and see our reflection look back at us. That's two things. We look in the mirror to take stock and accountability for what we see, but we also look in the mirror to appreciate who we are and what we're going and what we're taking out into the world. Or we look at it as a space for reasonable assessment to get better and do better. whatever you do, write it down, record it, stare in the mirror until you feel like saying those words. Take accountability for your life, because you have to acknowledge where you went wrong. If you can't acknowledge where you went wrong, then you're just going to be on a loop of doing the same shit over and over again. That's why accountability is so important. Take accountability for what you've done or where you feel like you've missed the mark, and then sit down and chart your course going forward. And you're going to succeed. You know why you're going to succeed? You're going to succeed because better than anyone, you know what it feels like to fail. You know what it feels like to feel like you failed, rather, because you haven't failed. But you, as long as you're alive, the only finished project is, when it comes to living this life, is a dead one. So as long as you're alive, as long as you wake up, you can fix some shit. So take stock of what you've done, but also take time to chart a course forward, because you know what it feels like to miss the mark, and hold yourself accountable for not missing the mark going forward. I really want that to resonate and land with people, because life can be hard. And I'm going to tell you something. As you get older, your life becomes more and more isolated. And your youth is this light that gives you the attention, undue attention, that fades. Trust me. Listen to Unc or School or whatever y'all calling the old people now. By the way, old being 30, whatever. Keep living. But trust me, the light that is your youth will fade, and people will not care about you. They don't care about you now. They're just obsessed with your youth, because we're a youth obsessed culture. But they don't care about you. They acknowledge your youth, and they see in you missed opportunities. So take advantage of this time. Take advantage of this time where life has put a comma, not a period. Life has put a comma. Or, better yet, it has put a period, because you're going to write a new sentence. You're going to write a new paragraph with the life you have left. So I know it's tough. I know those tears feel bad. I know there are going to be some sleepless nights. But as long as you are committed to being a better version of yourself and really leaning into your life, you're not done. You're not done. You see those memes online all the time where Walt Disney, and all these people didn't start till they were 40, 45, 50, 60, whatever. You're not done as long as you believe that you're not done. So anybody who hits this point in their lives, I want you to find this, watch this, see this, and anything similar to it. It doesn't have to be me. You just have to get the message that your life is not over. Your life is not done. And you've given yourself a grade. And depending on how you feel about that grade determines the work you have to do forward. Okay? If you want to reach out to me regarding this, you can hit me in the email, which of course is troyismpodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to me if you want to know. I'm not a therapist or anything like that. So if you want to ask me specific, talk me through it, questions as it relates to this topic, I would love to talk to you about it. Just, if it's more situational. But if you're looking to pivot or turn a corner or anything, and you just kind of want to, again, send it out there, reach out to me. But to anybody who have given yourself a grade, you've hit 35, 40, and this goes for parents too, and people who are married, especially those who get married younger. You get married young, you have your children are older, and then or you've had a marriage and you two have grown apart, and so now you're 38, 39, 40, and you're divorcing, or you're 40, 41, your kids are leaving, and you're home by yourself, and you're back in that isolation, and now you're alone with your thoughts and your being, and you're looking over the last decade or two of your life, and you're kind of like, shit, it's so many memes for this shit, but somebody posted a meme. It was like 40 is that age where you see what people have been doing the last 20 years of their life, and I believe that is very true. Be it physical health, financial health, just because physical and physical. But anyway, your financial stability and health, just your thought process, where you are in life, how you view the world. There is that checkpoint. I think 40 is a big checkpoint for people, also 50. But whatever age it hits you at, just know it's not a finished project. You are not a finished project, and any course you chart forward can happen and can be real for you. So I wish you the best. Reach out to me if you want to expound on this or want to kind of give me your specific scenario. I'll try to help in any way I can, even if it's just providing resources and sending you in a direction. But yeah, that one, yeah, that was a good one because it hit home. But sit tight. We're gonna come back. We're gonna wrap this show up, and yeah, we're gonna do that. All right, that was a lot of show. Whoo, shit, that was a lot of show and a lot of talking. I can already feel my voice getting scratchy. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to give me like some tea with lemon because right now this cup is just water. But I'm definitely gonna have to give me some throat spray or something. A lot of fucking talking. Oh, sorry, mama. Sorry. I promise. Next show, clean, PG. Not even PG-13. PG. Um, yeah. Today was a lot of topics. Today was a good show. Thank you all for tuning in. Each one teach one, reach one, bring somebody, watch the show, share it with people. Of course, this is YouTube. We're on right now primarily. So like, share, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so that you can know when the shows drop. Although weekly shows are loaded on Tuesdays. I know the first show was on a Thursday, but it was Juneteenth, and that was symbolic for me. So I wanted to drop it on that day. Um, but yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I really don't have a big outro today. Just thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for rocking with the topics. Oh, Pretty Case Face. Pretty Case Face. That's one of my friends. She knows who she is. An amazing teacher, by the way. Teacher of the year in Texas. I don't want to put too much of your business out there because I know you don't want everybody to know you, but she's an amazing. She's so good of a teacher. She won a car for teaching. That's how dope she is, and it's her purpose. I remember. Oh, I'm sorry, Pretty Case Face. But I remember back in our young days when we was outside in H time. Man, we was outside. Uh, but I remember when us being outside, that was her passion. That's all she talked about. That's all she was looking forward to, getting her certification. Yeah, she did that. You did that, and I'm very proud of you. But I brought you up because she watches the show as well, and she wanted me. I'm her wine friend in the sense of helping her figure out what wine goes best with what. So I was gonna bring it up on this show for you, but what I decided was because I need to get used to doing ads and ad spaces, I'm gonna create an advertisement just about wine, and I'm gonna load it up on the shows. So yeah, Pretty Case Face. That's how I used to say it. Pretty Case Face. Hang tight. I am definitely gonna get you. We're gonna be talking about wine just for you and just to educate the masses about wine because I will be yeah, we'll do that. So it didn't come up on this show, but I will talk about it. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Until next time, I need like an outro saying, huh? Is that cheesy? Does that make me like a millennial? Because I want like an outro saying, like a till next time, you know, tip your waiters generously. Uh I don't know. Anyway, okay, we're running out. I'm talking too much. Have a good day. Talk to you all later. Be kind to each other. Really do that though. Be kind. Be nice. There's a lot going on in the world. Be kind. Be kind, not nice though, because nice invites a lot of disrespect. Be kind. All right.